Can you believe I've had these new Bespoke Sweet Pickins milk pink colors for a couple weeks and I'm finally now getting to play with them? Y'all, they're so pretty. I can't wait to share them with you. All 6 of these colors are available now on the website. You can find that linked below. For project number 1, this project I was originally going to decoupage, but changed my mind when these bespoke colors came in, and I decided to choose Cheshire for this piece. You're going to mix equal amounts of the powder with equal amounts of warm water. You're going to stir this up and set it aside. And while I'm prepping my paint, let me welcome you to my channel or welcome you back. My name is Sandra and I am the owner and creator here at Midwest Charm. I specialize in repurposed upcycled vintage home decor and all of your DIY needs. You can find my website as well as all of our social medias linked below, including a list of everything I'm going to be using in today's video. We are going to dive right in now that my paint has had time to soak in all of those pigments, and we are going to go ahead and put 2 coats of paint on these pieces. I pulled out the little drawers so the piece itself will get 2 coats and all the drawers will get 2 coats. I'm going to let them dry. If you guys want added chippiness, you can always hit it with a heat gun. That does a really good job at causing crackle and making it chippy. I did not do any of that for this piece. I was working on several pieces at one time, so I would just set my items off to the side, let them dry, and then came back and did my second coat. I am loving this color, and it's not the same as any of the other greens that are currently out. It does have a little bit different. I'll see if I can find an image of the similar colors, but they're not. I do go ahead and paint the back of this piece as well. I'm really excited about how this piece turned out. I cannot even tell you guys. It got some good crackle, and I love the unpredictability of milk paint. I did not add any extra bond to this because, again, I was going for super distressed and chippy on this. And I can't wait for you guys to see the finished result. So hang out to the very end of the video where you'll get to see all 2 of my projects completed today. Now that we have 2 coats of paint on here, I'm going to take this finger sander, and I have a 180 grit sandpaper on there, and I'm going to go over all of the bits and pieces and angles and get any of the milk paint can be a little on the crunchy side sometimes. So I'm getting any of the little lumps out of there, but I'm also sanding to make sure that any of the loose pieces come off. And then we are going to really distress the sides, the edges, the bottoms, and make sure that this looks like this paint has been on here forever, that it looks just perfectly worn. I pulled out Iron Orchid Design's new transfer, Lost Garden. Y'all, this is such a beautiful transfer. You can cut this thing apart. You can have it continue over. It has so many possibilities, and big or small projects, it's going to be a go-to for so many people. And I do still have these available on my website, which is linked below. Like I said, you can cut this thing up, and that's what I did. I cut out the pieces that I liked and then trimmed them up to go around the knobs and around the shape of the top. You do not have to use transfers in the way that they come on the sheet. You can cut them up and use them however it works for you. And I do save all the little bits that I'm cutting off of this to use, you'll see. And I use them in different spots. So these little bits and pieces do get set aside, and wait till you see how I use them. I really love how it turned out. When applying transfers, you want to peel off your backer and place your transfer down where you would like it to go. Then you're going to take out that little stick that comes with your transfers and use that to rub your transfer down. Once your transfer is completely applied and that top layer is off, you're going to burnish that piece in either with your fingers or by using your top plastic piece to make sure there's no air bubbles and all the pieces are down firmly. Now, here's where those little bits and pieces come in. I'm gonna place these off to the side and have it look like those little branches and vines are just peeking in a little bit on this top, and then I'm gonna burnish them in, and we will get this all sealed up to make sure that those transfers stay where they're supposed to. I also put a little bit of vine at the very top of it so that it's all so super cohesive and the whole pattern just flows throughout the piece. Next, we're going to take that finger sander and put on a 400 grit that's been used plenty, and we're going to go over the transfers and make them look distressed, but this also makes them look like they have been on here forever. There's no little bits or pieces that will come off. To seal up our piece today, we are going to use Sweet Pickins Dark Oil Wax. I love using the oil waxes to seal in my milk paint. The oil waxes just get in between all the crackle and chippiness, and it just soaks in there. And the finish, once it's dried and completely cured, is so solid and so buttery smooth. It is my absolute favorite way to seal in milk paint. As you can see, I have my oil wax in a little silicone dish, and then I have an old brush that I apply it with. I'm just going to dip it in and smooth out the oil wax, and then you're going to let it soak in. Once you've got it soaking in for a few minutes, you can go back in with, I use shop towels. I would suggest lint-free and wipe it all off until your towels come out clean and you don't have any more wiping off. And then just set it aside to completely solidify, and you guys will be so impressed with the final result. For project number two, I chose the color Kent. This is such a beautiful blue color. And again, we're going to mix this the same way as we did the first color. You're going to use equal parts powder to equal parts warm water. You're going to stir it all up as good as you can. Try to get as much of the clumps out as you can. And then set it aside for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I usually give it one more good stir. And then I go ahead and paint with it. Allowing that paint to sit for that 5 to 10 minutes really allows the pigments to be soaked in and gives it such great coverage when you're painting. I am going to go in on this piece with 2 coats, and I'm not painting the bottom of this, but you'll see how I finish that off in just a bit here. But we are going to paint the outside, the inside, and the handle in the Kent Bespoke color. Once it's completely dry, I'm going to go in and give this a good sand as well, like I did on the first. This is going to be a 180 grit sandpaper on my little finger sander here. I'm smoothing out all of it, but really paying attention to the edges and corners and bottom of these pieces. I'm going to pull out Iron Orchid Designs Wild Bloomin', and I cut out a couple of pieces I really liked, like these strawberries. I have a whole vignette I have planned for my booth that includes strawberries, and this piece is going to be one of my major pieces for it. Y'all, look how realistic this is. It is just stunning. So like the project before, I peeled off the backer and I placed this where I wanted it to go. I do a quick rub over the whole transfer with my transfer tool, and then I go back and start working on a little spot and peeling back the top layer as I go. And then once this has fully released from that top layer, I use that to burnish this in. And by burnish, I mean I'm rubbing it in to make sure all the little pieces are attached and there's no air bubbles. I'm then going to go in with a 400 grit sandpaper and give this a light distress since the piece itself is distressed, but also just to make sure everything is adhered nice and good on this piece. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the other end. And on this side, we're using the sweetest little frog and a beautiful little violet. And this way you can have either side out or put it long ways and just have the plain blue. I love the versatility of this piece, and I'm so pleased with this, how it turned out. And this transfer has just so many good pieces to it that are just, oh, you guys, it's so good. As you can see, I am going in with that 400 grit after I get my transfers on there, and making sure it's all distressed and and you guys, yes, you know it. You know how I am about to seal this up. I seriously debated on using the Sweet Pickins top coat, but I had to do it. I had to pull out my dark oil wax, and we're going to do the same process on this piece that we did on the last piece. We're going to put this oil wax on the entire piece, inside out, and the sides, the bottom too. So we're going to give that bottom a really good coat, and it'll help stain it too, but also give it a really good drink. And then we're going to wipe it all off. As you can see, the bottom of this piece really loved this oil wax, and it just soaked it in. There wasn't much to wipe off, but I did give it a good wipe down, and it looks beautiful now. And here are your final shots. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So, what did you think? Which item was your favorite? And did you like one color over the other? Want to see me work with those other colors? They're so pretty. I'm just in shock over them. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.